Hello, my name is Jonna, and welcome to Relationship Advice for Women. This is where I come on live and I give you answers in the best way I know how concerning the questions you have asked me. So let's get started. The first question we have for today is I am engaged but do not know how to break off the engagement. So I am a person of words. I love words. That's how I communicate with people. I write. So if you feel super weird about telling someone that you no longer want to be with them, this reminds me about when I was in seventh grade. I sent the guy who I was dating at the time, I sent him, I think it was either the lyrics or the song, by Chris Brown. It's never the right time to say goodbye. I cannot believe I can't believe I did that. But I sent him that Chris Brown song, It's Never the Right Time to Say Goodbye. But I didn't want to be with him like that anymore. He was a sweet guy. It's kind of sad I didn't want to. But anyway, I sent him some lyrics to a song, or you can write a letter. If he's a friend of yours, you might just want to kind of take, like when I say a friend of yours, I mean like if you guys were really good friends, but you just want to end on good terms. Were lovers and friends, and you want to end on good terms. You can write him a letter, or you can take him out to eat or something like that, or take him to the park and just kind of tell him how you're feeling about the engagement. Maybe let him know that you're better off as friends and you really want to still keep the friendship. Or you can, like I said, write a letter. Yep. So the next question is, how do I forgive him for moving another female into my trailer while I was in jail? So someone who you've been dating, you've allowed them to stay in your trailer. They may have agreed to keep the upkeep while you're in jail. And you trusted them enough, to stay in that relationship. So that's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to forgive, but forgiving is really freeing yourself. So what you want to do is you want to pray and ask God, Lord, give me the grace to forgive my boyfriend for his wrongdoing to me. You want to ask God to help you to forgive him, because you don't want bitterness and resentment to grow inside of your heart. So when you forgive him, you actually release him from your mind. You release him from your heart. So you want to say, you know what? I forgive you. You want to practice forgiving. I forgive you. I forgive you for what you've done. It wasn't right. And then you want to pray for him too. You want to pray and you want to ask God to help him to be a person of integrity. Help him to be someone who's kind, thoughtful, and generous. You want to pray for him, because once you pray, even though you like pray for him, once you pray, and I'm serious, it's like a law of life. Once you speak blessings over those people who hurt you, it really heals your heart. So you're doing him a service. I mean, you're doing yourself a service once you pray for him, once you bless him. And then before that, you definitely want to ask God to give you the strength to do so. But it's good that you're trying to forgive. Recently, actually yesterday, I prayed to God to help, because I believe I'm pretty good with forgiveness. It doesn't feel good to be hurt, but I'm in charge of my own soul, so I want to make sure I forgive. But I pray and I ask God to help me to forgive and to forget, like upgrade my forgiveness to where I'm actually forgetting the same way I want God to forget the wrongs that I've done once he's forgiven me. The next question is, how do you know if a relationship is toxic? You ask yourself these questions, and then it's pretty, sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. Are you arguing every day? Are you arguing just about every day? Are you arguing every week? You shouldn't be arguing every week. You should not be arguing every week. You shouldn't. If you're arguing once a day, once every day, once a week, you should not be doing that. That is a toxic relationship. If you just don't get along. If something, sometimes, I want to be careful when I say this, because sometimes the person just irritating your soul, that might be a sign that you are in a toxic relationship, but you might be the one who's being toxic at that point. And you might want to say, why is this person irritating my soul? I need to bind that spirit, not allow that easily irritating spirit to be on me. And then if I'm just not a good connection with this person, then I need to pray for strength to help me to leave. Right? But number one sign when something is toxic, are you all arguing every week? Even if you're arguing every other week, you should not be arguing with your significant other every other week. Are they blaming you for every bad thing that has happened in their life? Because if they're blaming you for every bad thing that's happened in their life, are they also blaming you for every good thing that's happened? You know, because if they might be treating you like God. When somebody blaming something on the other person, like everything that happened in my life is your fault, they're treating you as if you're God. You are not God, right? You're not responsible for the things that have happened in your life. So are they blaming you? Are they victimizing themselves constantly? Are you catching them trying to manipulate you? You know, not taking responsibilities for their own actions and arguing every week or every day or every other week is really a sign that you are in a toxic relationship. What are things you should know before moving in with your partner for the first time? Now, I am really like me. If you get to know me, I don't agree with just moving in with people, right? Like, that's a big step. You know, you need to know is if your partner and even are you a person who is it hard for you to be alone? Right? Is it hard for you to be alone? So are you codependent? Is your partner codependent? Are they gonna feel sad every time you go somewhere? Are they gonna and not just sad, like sometimes we miss our partners, but are they gonna feel like they can't live life without you, like they're depending solely on you? If they feel that way, you don't need to move in with somebody like that. They need to be a whole individual person, meaning they don't need you to survive. Um, but you want to know basic things like, are you clean? As a person may not be clean, but you want to know their cleanly level. Do they cook? You know, how much are their bills a month? How much electricity do they usually use? How much water, sewage? How much how often do they wash their clothes? How often do they cook at home versus eating out? Just basic things, everyday life. You know, what time do they go to bed? What is the air conditioner that are going to be on during the summer? Do they use the air conditioning during the winter? You know, how do you like to live? So, do you flush the toilet every time you go to the restroom? It's really simple, basic questions like that. Do you leave? Does your partner leave the toilet seat up? You know, are they considerate enough to put it down so you won't fall in the toilet? You know, you have to just ask questions like that based on how you live. Are you a person who makes up the bed every day before you leave? Are you a person who makes coffee, brews coffee every morning? You know, you have to just ask questions based on how you live. The fifth and final question is, how do you get men to communicate without arguing? Now, every man does not argue. So you are talking about the men who you associate with, right? How do you get the men that you associate with to stop arguing? My husband is not the person who argues. And I know that there are a lot of men who don't argue, and they actually keep quiet, and that can bother a person even more. But if you are a person who attracts people who argues, you might want to stop, doing that by evaluating why do you attract those type of people. And you could also be an argumentative person. So you might want to look at yourself and see, how am I approaching this person? Like me, I'm super assertive. There are certain things that I like to debate about and certain things that I don't like to debate about. But if I know that I'm not quite trying to debate, I will just say what I need to say. If that person feels irritated by what I said and wants to start an argument, you just don't respond. You don't respond to them because you're like, "Ooh, that went in the wrong way," right? But if you notice that this person is arguing every time you talk, that might not be a person that you need to be communicating with. Because your friends, if somebody's truly a friend, they would not be trying to argue with you every single day. Think of it of when you're on the phone with a female friend. How would you feel if you on the phone with that female friend and every time she talks to you, she arguing? You like, hold on. Why are we? I don't have time for that. If you really liked me, you wouldn't be arguing with me every time we are talking on the phone. So just like with your male counterparts or your male associates or whichever men you're talking about, if they're always arguing, y'all just may not be equally yoked, even as friends. You guys just may not see eye to eye on too many things. So you might want to find somebody who sees life the same way that you see it. When you have people who are equally yoked, y'all think the same, y'all are on the same vibration, on the same level, you probably won't be arguing that much. So you have to seek out better men counterparts. You have to seek out men who are actually on your level with thinking, that you're actually agreeing on the same things. And you figure that out by just getting to know people. And it's really quick. Like you can find out really quick. We either click or we don't. We're either arguing today, or we're not. We're getting along. So you just want to interview people, see if y'all have things in common. If y'all have things in common, then most likely you probably won't be arguing about that. You'll be more so in agreement. And I done put the book down. I've got to give y'all the answers that y'all gave me concerning the questions that I asked about how your parents hurt you when you were a child. One person said they were verbally and physically abusive, but we are better now, although I question and doubt good things. Verbally and physically abusive. Yesterday, I said a prayer and I said, Lord, help me not to be violent with my son. Because sometimes we as parents, we can yell. When I say violent, I mean like being loud, like, hey, don't do that. There's another way that we can talk to our children. And I read a scripture that said, parents, do not provoke your child, or do not, basically don't provoke your child. Don't treat them harsh, or you'll discourage them and crush their spirits. So we got to remember to ask God to help us, because a lot of the reasons why we are the way we are with our kids is because we need to develop ourselves in that area, whether it be patience and gentleness. Your parents were violent or verbally abusive with you because they did not grow in that area of patience and gentleness. It does not excuse what they've done, but to be a better person, we've got to ask God to help us to not be violent. And when I say violent is being loud with your kids. I don't curse my son out, but some people do. And it's because they have not graced themselves in patience and gentleness. But it's a good thing that you all are in a good place now. And I definitely understand that you doubt good things sometimes. Can this really be true? Are my parents really doing me good now? Wow. The next person said they got beatings. Now, a lot of people said they suffered from physical abuse. Beatings as in like, did you get beat with a belt? What were you doing as a child? Sometimes people needed to get whooped, but beating them, sometimes beatings, like if you're beating somebody, it's like you're whooping me out of hatred now. You're not whooping me because you love me. So when we are spanking our children, we got to remember, are we doing this in love, or are we doing this because we're real mad at the moment? So if you feel like you're really mad at the moment, do not whoop your child, because that whooping will turn into a beating and it will crush their spirits. The last one is, the way that parents hurt them is it says they split my siblings and I up and let us be raised by aunts and uncles. I think I spoke about this yesterday. A lot of people in here have been hurt by the same things. And it does not give your parents an excuse to be splitting you all up. They had to split you up because one person wasn't going to take all of you. That's just the reality of fostering and kinship. When you're older, it is very hard because you see, like I said before, we're not fully developed in patience and in gentleness, right? As adults, we have to grow in those areas. And if an adult is not grown to be able to have the capacity to handle 5 kids, that could damage them. So they're not. It's not that they want to split you up amongst aunts and uncles. One aunt wasn't gonna take all of y'all because they didn't have the capacity to do it. They didn't have the capacity to handle it. Your mom hurt you by splitting you up. Your parents, they probably were not able to take care of you, unfortunately. We definitely need to make sure we are having children when we are able to take care of them, because it is irresponsible. That's why you need to use protection or practice abstinence, because it is very irresponsible to have children that you cannot mentally take care of or financially take care of.